We're loading the King's Man up with Titane, and we're eating a licorice pizza with Wain while we encounter some humans in the Matrix. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Becks Perfect, and this is Off Screen, your 7-day guide to everything movies.
Boom.
Welcome to Off Screen. We are keeping things cinematic, and I have to applaud Van Connor there for such an excellent intro. That was quite the feat to fit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies in that and make it sound succinct. So well done, Van.
Thank you very much, Bex. And you know what? You've led us off nicely there with the format for this unusual week because it's our last show of the year. So, of course, with the Christmas break upon us, it falls to us to cover not 1 but 2 weeks of new releases, which gives us 6 big movies to talk about. One of them has already made it into my top 10 of the year list. Just to tell you that in advance, one of these 6 films is in my top 10 of the year. Okay. And it is in a foreign language as well. So this is like going to be like a Parasite type thing. Actually, it's Raw all over again, if you want the honest truth. But shall we start? We're talking about one I know you've seen. Let's talk about a return for Mr. Cumberbatch. We had him last week in Spider-Man. He's going to be back next week. Is it New Year's Day? I think this one's out. New Year's Day?
Yeah, 1st of January, yeah.
So,
yeah, indeed. So if you're... Yes, indeed. So if you are after a period drama with a little bit of a twist, a quirky twist, this might be the movie for you, because Benedict Cumberbatch, and an absolute all-star cast, I have to say, plays an English artist called Louis Wain, who rises to prominence at the end of the 19th century because of his surreal cat paintings. And these kind of paintings are very much reflective of his own sanity.
Every cat fancier knows puss loves nothing more than to sit on a piece of brown paper. Well, cats are acutely aware of the dangers of electrical rheumatism. And of course, if you ever need to punish a cat, you can just crumple the paper to make the sound of thunder.
Do cats get rheumatism?
Oh, yes, of course, Miss Simmons.
Mr. Wain, we have been showing your cat pictures to our staff. They've been laughing, they've been smiling. Tell them, Alicia, tell them I'm not lying.
One of our typists, she took some of your pictures home to her kids, and she said that they were running about on their hands and knees pretending to be cats.
Pretending to be cats, how cute.
And asking to have cats for their birthday.
We're gonna get you out there, you're a personality. Wouldn't you say, Alicia, honey? You're Mr. Cat. You're Cat Man.
Cat Man.
Cat Man.
Cat Man.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. I'm going to go through the cast list on this for you guys first, because it is an all-star cast, like I mentioned. So we've got Benedict Cumberbatch as Louis Wain. Yeah, it is indeed. Claire Foy, it's great to see her back doing something. She's brilliant in this. So she plays Emily Richardson Wain, who is a governess and essentially someone that Louis falls in love with. But there's an interesting class disparity between the two of them because he's essentially from wealth, she's obviously the help, and they fall in love, and it's obviously society. And she's also, because of her age, is considered geriatric as well.
She is, she's Claire Foy's age, but she's geriatric, just, because them was the times. But, you hit the nail on the head with that, Ross. I mean, is it Wain or Wan? I can never tell. I've been saying Wain, but I'm not sure offhand.
I'm not sure either. You've got me questioning myself on this, but it doesn't really matter. It's spelt Wain, but we'll call it whatever we want to call it. Andrea Riseborough plays a sister in this, and she's brilliantly kooky in this. Toby Jones is in this as well. Sharon Rooney, which, what is she in? You'll recognise her.
Oh, I know.
She's on
I was
TV.
trying to place this all the way through. It is... My Big Fat Diary, was it?
Yes, my Big Fat Mad Diary or something. Yeah, it's that.
Something like that, yeah.
And then Amy Lou Wood is Claire Wain, which is another sister as well. So basically, Louis Wain had loads of sisters. She's from Sex Education.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if you noticed this, but is Nick Cave H.G. Wells?
Yes, I believe he is. And this is happening a lot this Christmas. There are so many weird, musical artists turning up in movies as, historical figures, important cameos in movies. It's been insane this year.
Yeah.
I thought Tom Waits was in something I watched the other day. Tom Waits just randomly turned up in something I watched. In fact, it might have been one of the ones we're reviewing today, in fact. But The Electrical Life of Louis Wain was one that I felt like, because this is going to be on Prime as well. So this is in cinemas and on Prime on New Year's Day. So you can watch this one at home. typical Cumberbatch performance, so you know it's good. Typical Claire Foy performance, so you know it's technically brilliant, even though it's a lot of lip quivering, because that is Claire Foy. Shout out to Hayley Squires, who we left off the list on this one. Hayley Squires from I, Daniel Blake is in this, and I was so happy to see her. Hayley Squires is back. Good to see her. My thing with this one is it just didn't build up enough engagement for me. It didn't captivate me. It didn't hook me. Felt like this was something that had been done very specifically knowing it was a streaming film and that it was only going to appeal to people who were particularly interested in Louis Wan / Wain / Wan, whatever you want to call him, James Wan, I don't know. Outside of that, it's not a really accessible film. I mean, I wasn't particularly...
It did feel a bit of a slog at times. I have to, I mean, if you like period dramas, if you like Cats, this is going to be one for you. But I would say, not the movie Cats, no, absolutely not. But I did think that there were like the beautiful moments in. There's like he goes to a boxing match, like a bare knuckle boxing match, and I thought that was shot beautifully, and it really captured the Victorian feel. But then a lot of it felt a bit staged. Like there was a winter moment where he's walking through like a winter market, and I was like, oh well, you'd expect to see that in kind of like Waterloo right now, where someone dresses up and pretends to be a Victorian winter market. There's bits of that doesn't quite work.
There's a lot that feels quite perfunctory, a lot that feels quite obligatory. It does feel a lot at times like this has been made as a sort of television event, / television / streaming event. It's not inherently bad, but it is where it belongs to be on streaming. So that's The Electrical Life of Louis Wain, out on New Year's Day. You can find that on Amazon Prime as well. Let's talk then about, and this is one I've been kind of dreading talking about. Let's talk about Licorice Pizza, which is
great title.
Yeah, it is a good title, isn't it? Apparently, its original title was Soggy Bottom, which does come up in the film. It's actually a line of dialogue used in the film. This is the latest from Paul Thomas Anderson. So good old PTA is back, Magnolia Man himself. Stop me if you've heard this one before. This is a coming-of-age drama set in Southern California in the 1970s about a young, emerging wannabe meets an older woman with whom his tumultuous relationship and his first love leads him through the ages.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He was maybe going to be my boyfriend.
Listen, young lady, you don't bring this idiot to Shabbat dinner here.
Listen, Dad, he's an atheist and an actor, and he's famous.
But he's Jewish.
He was going to take me out of here, Essie. Don't you even look at me. Don't you even look at me. You're always looking at me. What are you doing?
I didn't even say anything.
What are you doing? What are you thinking, huh? I'm Essie. I work for Mom and Dad. I'm perfect. I'm a real estate agent. Alana doesn't have her life together. Alana brings home stupid boyfriends all the time.
I mean,
I knew it. I knew that was what you were thinking. You're always thinking things, you thinker. You thinker. You think things.
Wow. Okay. No, I've not heard that before, apart from every single time.
But that's it, isn't it? So you get to this movie, and you think it's very well made because it's Paul Thomas Anderson. Like, I can't really fault any film by Paul Thomas Anderson because they are all made to an exemplary standard. Like, the man knows his cinematic craft, knows how to tell a story. And here's the interesting thing about this. The actual film, when you're in it, and you're following those characters and you are engaged with them, is perfectly engaging and done quite well. I really liked that. I'm trying to remember the name of the unknown who's playing the lead here. Let me pull this
her name is Alana Haim.
Alana Haim. She's the lady on the poster. Cooper Hoffman is our lead character. Then he is the son of the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yes. And so in the space of a year, both James Gandolfini and Philip Seymour Hoffman, the departed pair of them have had their sons, appear in big movies. So I say, this is them growing up in the San Fernando Valley in the 70s. Outside of their performances, which are very engaging, the film itself, you find yourself just sitting there thinking, what the hell am I watching? This, by the way, was the movie with Tom Waits, I think. I think Tom Waits.
Yes, it is. Tom Waits is in this, as is Sean Penn.
Oh, yeah, Sean Penn is in this, yes, and it is Bradley Cooper. Now, I want to talk about Bradley Cooper because he's my favourite thing in this. I've only got about 40 seconds, so I want to be quick. Bradley Cooper plays John Peters in this, based on a real incident. Now, these are the real stories, based on real stories of his friend. I forget which, it's one of his filmmaking friends who had grown up in the Valley. PTA did not have any of this happen to him. It is his friend, and he has fictionalized it. One of the things he has fictionalized is an encounter with John Peters. John Peters was, in the 70s, Barbra Streisand's hairdresser. turned boyfriend turned movie producer, who in the 1990s, in the late 80s, produced Batman, was a very hands-on producer with Batman, with Tim Burton, and then tried to bring Superman into being with Tim Burton and Nicolas Cage and Kevin Smith. It is a story of legend, and oh my God, if that story has ever amused you, you've got to see this movie just for that. See the movie for Bradley Cooper alone. However, outside of that, you do find yourself watching this movie a lot of the time thinking, what the hell is this movie about? Like, what is going on here? What is happening? I can't tell what the point of any of this is.
Oh, I hate those kind of movies where there's no climax to it. It just plods along and then suddenly it ends.
It's just
most frustrating.
Just these teenagers just like flirting and will they, won't they? Well, stuff happens. And then Bradley Cooper turns up for 5 minutes, does his best John Peters impression as a coked up maniac, and leaves. And you think, Bradley Cooper just made this movie. Bradley Cooper absolutely made this movie. I mean, 5 stars in The Guardian, I'm sure. 5 stars in The Telegraph. I think it's up for Film of the Year in a lot of other critics' lists. It has not made my list. Very well made. Performances are good and engaging. The film itself, however, decidedly not.
Welcome back to Off Screen. So we are keeping you very cinematic this week, in the last week of 2021, in fact. We're going to keep you now on the cinema track with Titane. This is exciting. I know this. When you said that there might be a film that's going to hit the top 10 of your list for the year, I kind of already earmarked that it's probably this one.
Yeah, let's be honest. This is so twisted that it couldn't not make my 10 of the year, really. This is the latest from Julia Ducournau. Do you remember a few years ago she wrote and directed Raw, the French cannibal drama? Do you remember that one? Really interesting film, fascinating film. And right, okay, I'm going into this with fear because every time we get an impressive filmmaker and they do a follow-up, it kind of dies on its arse. Do you remember the guy, who was it that made Under the Silver Lake with Andrew Garfield? And then before that, what was it made before that? And I compared it to Southland Tales and Donnie Darko, that kind of thing, where you make Donnie Darko and you follow up with Southland Tales and it all just falls apart. I was worried this was going to go the same way. Rest assured, it very, very much will not. So, foreign language films, a French language film, stars the likes of Agatha Roussel. I think this might be her debut, actually. I think this might be her debut. She has been in things since, but not... Right, okay. She is a young woman who works as a go-go dancer for car shows. In her youth, during a car journey with her father, she got into an accident. She had a titanium plate put in her head, and as a result, has developed a sexual fetishization of cars. This manifests itself in her later years as a go-go dancer for car shows when she has a sideline as a serial killer, taking a certain hairpin out that she sort of the iconic hairpin that she keeps all the time, it's kind of her signature piece. She takes it out, she runs it through guys' heads. Guys and girls, actually, it's worth pointing out. It's quite a progressive film. She runs it through their heads. And to celebrate every single time, she then goes and, let's just say, gets intimate with a car. So you will get to see that, rest assured. However, one day she discovers she's not feeling too hot. Her belly's swelling. She's producing motor oil, we shall say. What do you think might be happening, Bex, as her stomach starts to increase in size and she starts to produce motor oil? Bex, what do you think is happening, Bex?
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay, right. Hold that right there. Hold that moment right there, because I'm not done. So, after snapping, killing a house full of people, and then burning down her own house with her parents in it. This is all the first 20 minutes, by the way. Burning down her own house with her parents in it. She then goes to the airport to flee, notices all the cops, notices a sign on a digital display for a missing boy from 10 years ago that has been digitally aged, so what he would look like now. And she decides to cosmetically alter herself to impersonate the missing boy, who it turns out is the son of a divorced, steroid-addicted fire chief. She gets taken into the firehouse and becomes part of the firehouse family. It's deranged. I don't know where to begin with it. I was blown. Yeah, you just...
I don't want to watch this. Like,
I think you should. I really think you should.
I don't think I could handle it.
Else. Yeah, you'll never compare. I mean, I can't compare it to anything. I can say there are parts of Raw, there are parts of Cronenberg's Crash. There's a lot of Cronenberg in it, but there was a lot of Cronenberg in Raw to begin with because there is that body horror element. Fascinating performance by Agatha Roussel, just fascinating. And the brilliantly named Vincent Lyndon Vincent as... Vincent Lyndon as Vincent, brilliantly Vincent as Vincent. Fantastic in this, really great performance. It's a very guttural film. It's a film that you feel. It is designed to make you feel physically horrified, not even emotionally, just physically horrified. I had a hard time sitting through this, and you know the things I can sit through. No clip for this one, obviously, because foreign language. I wish I could provide you with some kind of audible
context,
sample of this insanity. I can't. I can only tell you to go and see it. And
well, you know what? If the hubby gets in my bad books, I might just shove this on in the background and see, just to
serve as a warning.
Freak him out. Yeah, serve as a warning. Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. I can't even begin to get into to unpack it.
You can't. I can tell in your face. You can't even articulate this. There's no words. Sometimes there's just no words.
It's fantastic. Right? It's fantastic. It is great. I think it's genuinely brilliant. I was watching this. What is this work of art I've watched? It is deranged. Say one of the films of the year for me, hands down. Check it out. But I think it's going to make infinitely less money, however, than our next entry. Somehow. Yeah. What do you reckon?
Yeah, maybe, but only because us cinema goers are weak and can't take something like Titane. What we much prefer to go and watch is something that we're quite familiar with and want to see the origin story of, which is The King's Man. So if you have been a Kingsman fan, you've watched Eggsy, you're not going to see him in this one. We're going back to the turn of the 20th century, actually, where it's the origin story of how the King's Man group was formed, how they came together. And obviously, when you're thinking of umbrellas and, very posh people fighting for the good of the country, who do you turn to do something like that? Of course, it's going to be Ralph Fiennes.
You cannot keep me locked away as the world burns.
Son, the truth is the world is ruled by corruption and greed.
We must do something.
Certainly. We are the first independent intelligence agency. Refined but brutal. Civilized but merciless.
Welcome to the club.
So this, I was fascinated by the concept of this one, which first of all is the origins of the Kingsman, is World War I specifically, because everyone always goes to. This one features Rasputin as a villain, as one of the cabal of like a Legion of Doom type villain organization. It's and Rhys Ifans as Rasputin is exactly as much fun as you'd think.
Is that Rhys Ifans? Okay.
It is Rhys Ifans. Rhys Ifans as Ninja Rasputin. And I think we've had the conversation a few times about me being a Russian history nerd. When they fight Rasputin, they do it with this wonderful gag about how they have to use all the ways that people actually tried to kill Rasputin, because there's a list of, I think, 11 different methods that they tried to kill Rasputin that didn't work, and all of them come up in the fight. Very fun, but I can't quite figure out who the film is for.
Okay.
It's not like the other Kingsman movies at all. Mm-hmm. It has a similar aesthetic. It has the look and feel, as in it has that same kind of camera style, the slow-mo, the ramping action, that visceral, nasty sensibility. But this is all tied up in, can we kind of make this slightly satirical about 20th century history? Specifically, the entirety of World War I. It's worth noting they never bring up the influenza pandemic, because I was waiting. I was really waiting to try and make that topic. This does feel like Matthew Vaughn, who has returned as director here, wanted to make a 20th century period piece, revisionist history action film. and thought the best way to do it was to sort of smuggle it out stealth in a Kingsman prequel. It works. It largely works. It's vastly superior to the Kingsman The Golden Circle. Yeah, Golden Circle was the second one. Yeah, the second one. But still not up to the heady, the heady moments of the first. I think the first is too much of a surprise, too much of an iconic one for this past decade, and also too well done. This doesn't quite measure up to the first Kingsman movie. Having said that, it's nice to see Harris Dickinson get a lead role. Ralph Fiennes finally gets a chance to be Bond, which is something I think a lot of people have always wanted to see us do. Him being M now is just borderline ironic.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a supporting cast that really works. MVP though, for me, it's a toss between Rhys Ifans and Gemma Arterton. Gemma Arterton as a Yorkshire accented killer nanny is kind of worth the movie, if I'm really honest.
Well, it's good to see her back, to be fair.
It is. I'm glad she's in a tentpole because it is something I would like to see her do more. I'm surprised she kind of hasn't really. Yeah, Kingsman. It's one that Kingsman fans are going to love anyway, regardless, because it's got the tone and the style. But for me, I don't think it's quite going to work with the younger crowds that aren't already Kingsman fans.
Yeah.
That's just my thing. But I do think Boomer generation, gonna love this.
Welcome back to Off Screen. So, in a change to our normal format, you're going to hear about even more movies on at the cinema. So we've got 2 more for you and no collection of movies on TV this week because by the time it'll come out, you will have watched everything that Christmas has to offer. And we think it's probably better to give you those big screen blockbusters instead. Now, something that isn't necessarily a big screen blockbuster, but has some big screen names in it, is The Humans. Now, this stars Richard Jenkins, Amy Schumer, and Beanie Feldstein as just 3 of the cast that's in this that is worth noting. But this is a film
Based
which
on a
is
play,
set.
isn't it?
Well, you're surprised by that in
you would
any
know,
way.
wouldn't you? You would just know.
You would know.
Even if it wasn't, you would just know.
Yeah. So it's set inside this pre-war duplex in downtown Manhattan, and it's a family that comes together for Thanksgiving, where I think Beanie Feldstein and her partner, played by
Stephen Yeun,
Stephen Yeun, yes.
Stephen Yeun.
Yes, where they are basically moved into this place and the family have come to visit and they all sit round and have Thanksgiving together and mysterious things start to go bump in the night and lots of family tensions start boiling above the surface.
There's this comic book I was obsessed with as a kid. It's about this species of half alien, half demon creatures and the scary stories that they tell each other.
Oh, God!
Are all about us, humans.
I know you think there's something wrong with me. It's not a news.
You still act like a murderer when I'm trying to apologize.
You'll find someone new. You're gonna come out of this stronger. I promise.
Stop lying to me. Just stop. Don't actually stop. Anything I say makes her.
Yeah. Who she remind you of?
You.
Me.
You. It's you, my friend.
Not gonna lie, I thought this was a snooze. I really did. You give me a movie called The Humans. I think, oh, please, oh, cool, a movie about robots or something. That'd be nice. Like maybe it's a movie about androids, like overthrowing their human overlords or something. No, sadly not. I just could not. I mean, it does feel. It not only does it feel like a play, it feels like a very specific kind of play. It feels like your friend's self produced play that you are obligated to attend and say nice things about. This feels like what
100%.
happens when that has been allowed to snowball for too long and people think it's popular enough to make a movie out of. It's worth noting that Stephen Karam, who made the play, wrote the play, has also written and directed this ad as well. I will say, it isn't badly directed. Like, the cinematography of it, quite good. The framing of it, the way it's staged, at times is quite good. The problem is the play's not very interesting.
Well, but on that, I think if you are immersed in it as the writer of the play and then step into the cinematic realm with it, maybe you're too close to the source material to know actually how to separate it for a cinematic audience, and that's the problem that I think this has got. Yeah, the play isn't very good. It's not that interesting. You know, I'm applauding him for getting an incredible cast together, but I'm pretty sure that Amy Schumer's probably looked at this and gone, do you know what? If I do this, people might take me really seriously. I'm not just the girl from Trainwreck. I think that's kind of how it's played out, and it's unfortunate that she's picked this particular movie / play to do that in. She doesn't do very much. It's not that interesting. It's just really, there's more pauses in this than Made in Chelsea.
Oh, good God. Do you know I watched my very first ever episode of Made in Chelsea last night? True story.
Oh, good Lord.
My very first one. I've never seen an episode in my life.
Well, you'll know what I mean then.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, I personally love an hour-long show in which people constantly begin every sentence with, well, you see, what I'm saying is, like what I'm saying, what I'm going for, is, that's not how people talk. Stop doing it. That is not reality, let alone reality on TV. Anyway, so the humans, rubbish. Let's talk about the Matrix.
Yes, let's, because look, I'm going to tell you, as a girl who grew up and watched the first Matrix and kind of went, oh my goodness, this has changed the game for me and my love of cinema. It's a huge thing, right? And then to be let down by the subsequent movies, is a big thing. For someone who has visited Sydney to hit all the landmarks in which the original Matrix has been filmed, you're speaking to someone who is going to be very excited about the Matrix Resurrections. And I'm hoping, I haven't seen this yet, that I'm not going to be disappointed.
This is one of the hardest film reviews I have ever had to do. Just for plot, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Let me see how to synopsize this without spoiling. So, following on from the events of the Matrix trilogy, we encounter a new set of, Zion rebels in the real world. They're not from Zion, that is part of the plot, but they are from half Zion, if you use the literal letters. They find themselves in a new form of the Matrix, a new evolution, a new iteration of the Matrix, complete with its own Neo and its own Trinity. However, they don't seem to know that they're Neo or Trinity. They don't even seem to know each other. They do seem to share an unspoken connection whenever they get near one another at a local coffee shop. But other than that, Thomas Anderson, as he's now called, is kind of back in his old life, but with one distinct twist. You see, in this new iteration, he's actually spent all this time not as a cubicle-bound corporate shill. He's actually a game designer, and it turns out that in 1999 he created a groundbreaking, genre-defining video game which spawned a trilogy called The Matrix.
Amazing. Okay.
Yes, and our new rebels have to not only figure out just what the hell is going on, or who this new guy is who keeps saying he's named Morpheus, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, incidentally, who I'm really starting to adore every time he turns up on screen. But they also have to figure out how to get Neo out of this, and just how to set right everything that seemingly has gone wrong since the last time they set it right, so many odd years ago. But unfortunately, Neo has other concerns, chiefly getting back with Trinity.
Oh. No. No. Whoa. What do you mean, no? You wanted this. You did this. This was your idea.
It was a test. An experiment.
An experiment? You put me in a tiny mold, left me to bang my head till I nearly lost my searching for you as an experiment.
The exit's breaking down.
He hasn't taken the pill.
What? There's no time.
I know. He's having a moment.
Does he know how hard it was to hack that mirror?
Still open.
This can't be real.
So that we've not got the same Morpheus this time round?
No, not the same Morpheus.
Why? Is that explained?
It is explained. I can't tell you. It makes sense.
Okay, fine.
It is a logical explanation.
Okay.
I will say the actual plot of this movie makes infinitely more sense than either of the sequels.
Okay.
It does. Good. It follows on directly. It makes no bones about this is not Ghostbusters Afterlife where we're just going to pretend that 2 didn't happen because it's inconvenient for how we want to do this plot. Everything happened. There's some slight revisionist history going on. but to be fair, involve things that we did not see.
Yeah, you do know that I was just furiously just looking up whether or not Lawrence Fishburne was still with us or not. I was pretty sure that he was.
Lawrence Fishburne's in, and I can tell you that the movie is about legacy. It is a legacy sequel, obviously, which we're not unaccustomed to now. We've had a fair few. Obviously, the two biggies are Force Awakens and Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is closest to The Force Awakens, in that it basically takes the formula of the original movie, does it again with some subversions and some twists, even does the sequels while it's at it, just, for S and Gs. Wish I could find a way to say that like radio friendly. For S and Gs, it does the sequels as well. It does compressed versions of them with new twists and new sub. This is a new iteration of the Matrix, and because it's a new iteration, the gimmick is we know what you're going to do, what we're going to do. That's the whole thing with it. A legacy sequel about legacy sequels is a hell of a flag. There is a lot of time early on in this movie with characters literally stood around talking about how terrible an idea it is to make a fourth Matrix. And then to talk about what the Matrix was about and what a sequel to the Matrix should be about. It's borderline genius, let down by only one thing. It's only got whiskies.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
Lana.
It's got Lana. It's not got Lily. Now, I'm going to hedge a bet. I know we're overrunning for time, but this is an important point I think needs to be made. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess, sight unseen, I've not looked this up, that Lily was more hands-on with the action scenes in the previous trilogy. Because there are, it's not an action movie, but there are action scenes, and they do feel obligatory. They do feel perfunctory. They don't feel anywhere near as refined, well-staged, or imaginative as anything in any of the three other movies. And I'm including the sequels in that because they still had imaginative, if not well done, action scenes. This just doesn't quite work on that level. But as a pseudo-philosophical, actually brilliant. If you want a pseudo-philosophical sci-fi romantic drama, look no further. And there is a sentence I never thought I would get to say in 2021. The Matrix Resurrections, pretty good. You can see it in cinemas now. It came out on Wednesday, I think, the 22nd. It'll be on digital in a matter of weeks. I think it's a sequel that will please people. I think it's a actually surprising dramatic turn for Keanu, who gets to mine some really interesting character stuff out of this. It takes the series back to being about characters, which it hadn't been in the previous two movies. And it genuinely opens up wonder and suspense, like the first movie, unlike the last two. I think it's worth checking out. I think it is a good sequel. I don't quite agree with some of the lower bar reviews that I've seen out there. I think it's a 3.5 to 4 star film that is let down by this need for perfunctory action. But I think, to be honest, you know if you're going to see this or not already. You know whether or not you're going to see it in cinemas or not. You're going to wait to see it, on home release. You can see it now. It's in cinemas. Boxing Day this year, you can see The Kingsman and Titane, along with The Humans. New Year's Day, you can see The Electrical Life of Louis Wain /1/1. I have no idea how we're pronouncing that, along with Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza. And there you go. That is your Christmas lineup for new big releases. What do you think, Bex? I think it's a hell of a festive package right there.
I'm feeling festive as we speak. Welcome back to Off Screen. So we are keeping you festive, but keeping you back at your house with some DVD streaming, Blu-ray, whatever your shiny disc. This is your every bit in between that we like to bring you. And we're kicking off with some pretty solid films. We've got quite the selection, haven't we?
We have. I mean, DVD and Blu-ray, because we've got 2 weeks worth, don't forget as well. We should probably just do the show in 2 weeks, and then we don't have to worry about content. So, DVD and Blu-ray this week. So this coming Monday, what is this coming Monday now? This coming Monday would be the 27th. So the 27th. On the 27th, we've got 2 new releases. One I haven't seen, and I'm very much looking forward to catching. The first is Cop Shop with Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler, a pairing I always wanted to see in a movie. Not that great, but, it has its moments. Decent little riff on Assault on Precinct 13 and Smoking Aces, but it's kind of just another run around the block for Joe Carnahan, I think. Some fun for Grillo and Butler, though, definitely.
I remember seeing this on the side of the buses. There's a big Jerry Butler sort of image that's on a lot of the London buses at the moment. And I remember you reviewing this and kind of saying it's mindless action fun. They're having a bit of a ball with it. You might well too. Okay, so that's Cop Shop. We then got Malignant, which is out as well.
A James Wan movie that I haven't seen. I hear incredible. There's something about this that there is some subversion or twist or something to this that has really messed with people, and I don't know what that is, but I really want to see it and find out. I don't even know what Malignant is about, so I'm deliberately keeping myself in the dark on that one. However, the following Monday, the 3rd of January, a pretty big movie is coming to DVD and Blu-ray. This did decent at the box office. The Andy Serkis directed superhero sequel, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, which reunites Tom Hardy with his favorite alien goo, along with Michelle Williams, and this time adds Woody Harrelson to the mix for S&Gs. This one went down gangbusters with my partner's son. He's a fanatic. He's 7, and he's a fanatic of Venom.
Right.
This is kind of telling you who the fan base increasingly becomes for these movies. They used to be teenage, and now they seem to be getting younger because Venom seems to be turning up in more and more cartoons. This time around, Venom goes up against another evil Venom. This time, one that's taken over a serial killer and turned literally the color red, named Carnage. But of course, it doesn't quite measure up to the real conflict between Venom the symbiote and Venom's own host, Eddie Brock.
This is about me wanting to live without you, whining in my ear all the time about eating bad guys, or like nagging me about Anne, or destroying my place, or destroying my life.
Do you know how lucky you are that I chose you?
You chose me? But I'm the only person that took you in when your friends kicked you off the planet Mingmong because you are a reject. You are a pariah. Lethal protection, my ass. You couldn't protect anything. You are useless. You can get a job down here cleaning toilets.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please, let me fix it.
How about it?
So I can bring it again.
Well, there we go. That is Venom. That had a bit of a mixed bag from critics, I think, when it came out initially. So it's one that maybe if you are a Venom fan, you might want to just check out. And if you didn't catch it in the cinemas, it might be worth you guys doing in the comfort of your own home. Now, let's move swiftly on to streaming. Now, this next one on streaming, I am super excited about because it's got an all-star cast. It's an Adam McKay film, and it is something that I think from the trailer, you're already thinking this is going to do some big business come award season. Yeah. It is Don't Look Up. It's out on Friday on Netflix. It's out today. Sorry, on Netflix.
So it's out today. It's worth noting this was out like 2 weeks ago in cinemas on limited theatrical. All-star cast: Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep. All in there, and it is, of course, an ensemble piece about what happens when they detect a planet-killing comet falling to Earth. I really can't wait to see what Adam McKay makes of that concept. I'm really bummed to miss out on that one. However, Monday the 3rd on Netflix, you can catch one of my favourite Guy Ritchie movies. I think it's his best one since Snatch, actually. It is The Gentleman, with Matthew McConaughey, with Colin Farrell, with Hugh Grant, with Charlie Hunnam, with pick your big name actor. They were in this.
So this was out a couple of Christmases ago, wasn't it, on cinematic release?
I think we did this just before COVID. I think this was that Christmas just before COVID. I remember I was on one of the tube posters for Talk Radio for this.
Yeah, I think, and it got, it kind of brings you back to that real Guy Ritchie look and feel and style, and Hugh Grant's in this as well, isn't he?
He gets to do, because he's doing the same shtick in the new Guy Ritchie movie. What's it called? Ruse de Guerre, Operation. The Jason Statham spy one. Operation something or other, Ruse de Guerre. But he's doing the same. I'll go on. Oh, you cheeky monkey. Oh. That's what he's doing the whole way. He's brilliant. Yeah. He's fantastic. I love him in this movie. Again, I'm MVP of the movie easily, but also just there's so many performances like that in it. Colin Farrell as the gym owner who's sort of mentor to all the wayward youth. Love him in it. And also gets an incredible scene with Eddie Marsan as a tabloid editor involving a pig that, it sticks with you.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, sticks with you, doesn't it? Sticks with you. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Moving on then to Amazon Prime then. This one, we're going back now to New Year's Day. So this next Saturday, next Saturday, New Year's Day, one of my all-time very favourite movies comes to Amazon Prime. We've talked about this a couple of times on Freeview, I think. It is Roland Emmerich's Stargate from 1994. A frankly brilliant film that went on to spawn one of the longest running cross-media TV franchises ever, I think. But worth watching. Kurt Russell and James Spader in one of the only times James Spader ever played an unquestionable good guy. Yeah, because I will argue that I'll argue that Alan Shaw is not a good guy. So,
I have to say, I grew up watching this movie. I watched it again and again and again. I had it on VHS. I bloomin' loved it. And I'm not, I'm not a big sci-fi movie fan. Like, it's not my thing really. But I something about this film really, really blew me away, and I do like revisiting it.
It's the spectacle and the ancient Egyptian iconography, isn't it? 'Cause
yes.
It gives you that sort of Indiana Jones feel to it.
Totally.
The same day, another movie that was also beloved in its time, I think, comes to Amazon Prime the same day. It is, of course, Broken Lizards, Super Troopers. I love this movie. And Meow, it's finally here on streaming. I can't get over it. It's I'm just honestly, I'm so happy right now. I really am. It's one of the great comedies about state troopers patrolling a certain section of highway, going to war with the local cops who are moseying in on their territory. And you know what? This is worth rewatching for you, Bex, because the chief is Brian Cox. Now we've had 3 years of Succession. Now it might be worth going back and seeing him in a comedy.
I don't know if I'm going to see him in a. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I want to see him in a non-Logan Roy kind of setting. I'm not sure that's what I want. But if you like films like Hot Rod and things like that, I think this is kind of, feels along the same lines if you haven't seen it.
I think the opening scene of the movie, just literally the cold open of it, just sets the tone perfectly. Watch that, and if you don't like that first sort of 2 or 3 minutes, turn off. It's not for you. If you do find that hilarious, though, which most people do, you're in for a whale of a time. Similarly, in for a whale of a time, today, in fact, you can go on to Disney Plus, and being made available to the general streaming library, no longer a Disney Plus Premium Access title, is Encanto, which was, I think, it's the last Disney princess movie we've had. This was out, about a month ago?
Yeah. Gosh, it's not been very long since it's been out, and it did okay business, didn't it? It wasn't groundbreaking, but it
kind of a typical Disney concept. It is, follows the only unpowered member of a superpowered, fairy tale magically powered family. This one is South American flavored. There are elements of like guerrilla warfare in the background and things that kept really fascinating me, because I kept wondering exactly where this was set, etc. Like what regime is this and what time period is it? Really good though. I really enjoyed it. Stephanie Beatriz is our lead, I think, in this one, and she's great fun in it. I just had a ball with it. Also, just give me John Leguizamo in anything ever.
Oh yeah,
got my money. Yeah. And of course, you don't even need to pay money for this because it's on Disney Plus streaming. So if you've got a Disney Plus, you've already paid your $5.99, $6.99, $5.99. I don't know. I direct debit it.
Reroute the river.
Will do.
Lisa, the donkeys got out again.
On it.
Lisa, wait a second. You gotta tell me about the magic. What's going on? What are you hiding?
Nothing. Just got a lot of chores, so maybe you should just go home.
Lisa, my house is leaning to the...
Oh, Dolores said your eye was twitching. It never twitches if something's making you nervous.
Hey, move. You're gonna make me drop a donkey.
Louisa, will you just tell me what it is?
There's nothing to tell.
You're obviously worried about something. Lisa, if you know what's hurting the magic and it gets worse because you won't tell me what's wrong.
Nothing's wrong! Wow, sorry, that snuck out there.
New Year's Eve, they're gonna really make you think that money was worth it. They have licensed a pair of films. Disney Plus don't generally license films. Apparently this is because they want to increase their regional content, their national specific content. So they have licensed the first 2 Paddington movies. So we can look forward on New Year's Eve to checking out the wonder that is Paddington and Paddington 2 on Disney Plus. Perfect family films all round. Ben Whishaw as Paddington is probably the most charming thing ever put to a cinema screen, maybe, I think.
and also perfect if we end up going into lockdown. So, there's always a silver lining somewhere, and that is in a national treasure that is Paddington the Bear. These are two brilliant films. What a lovely way to round off the show this Christmas Eve.
Even.
Yeah, this year. So we're going to take a little break next week, and we'll be back ready and raring to go in early 2022 for you. So
7th of January. And do you know the best part?
Wow.
You know what we get to come back with? We get to come back with an all-female action movie led by Jessica Chastain.
Yes.
I'm down for that. Like, give me the 355. I'm in. I think we're also going to be coming back with Dogwolf's latest, which is called Ali. The new Curzon movie, A Hero, will be out. And, of course, long delayed Boiling Point will finally be out, which I think was screening at LFF this past year. So you've got all those to come and more on January 7th off screen. So in the meanwhile, that is your veritable, helping of goodies. That is your festive package for this season. In which case, I've been Van Connor.
And I've been Becks Perfect. And we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year to go with that too. But until next time,
we shall return.